There we go. Right, we're live. Good morning, everyone. I think everyone's going to be sick of the sight of me today. I've already done one live. So I'm here with my brilliant mentor, Ruth Kudzi, and we're just going to be talking a little bit about just the challenges of female leaders. So today you're going to have three separate lives. We've got Ruth, then we've got Lindsay at 10, and then we've got one of my clients, Susie, at 11. So you're going to be sick of the sight of me, but this afternoon it will be quiet because I'll be on a plane to Edinburgh. So I'm very excited about that as well. So Ruth, do you just want to start off just by introducing yourself, and then I'll explain how I kind of friendly stalked you for a while and
Okay. By the way, I don't think that you could ever be sick of the sight of Nick. And I love the fact that you've got Lindsay as well, because I love Lindsay. Yeah. So I'm Ruth Kudzi. I am a multiple business owner, CEO. So I call myself a CEO. I'm just laughing because my friends constantly take the mickey out of me for that. So I run a training business called Optimus Coach Academy. And I also run a coaching business called Ruth Kudzi Coaching Limited. So I've been in business for about 5.5 years. Those two businesses. Before that, I come from an education background. I used to be a senior leader in education. I was a senior leader for about 7 years, I think. And before that, I had a recruitment and sales background where I was also a leader. So I've got quite a lot of leadership experience.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share the story of how I ended up working with Ruth. Yeah. And I think I friendly stalked Ruth. I think we've been in each other's worlds for a couple of years. And I did my coaching diploma with them, which I'd highly recommend. And I finished that in May, which is my Thursdays. I love my Thursdays now because I have them back, but I also really miss the group. I really miss the coaching, and I was a bit bereft for a few weeks actually. And then when I knew earlier this year that I really wanted to change my business, and I knew that that would involve kind of dismantling a business that was already running and successful and saying goodbye to some amazing clients but weren't quite my ideal clients. I knew that I wanted to work with Ruth because I'd seen her go through this amazing journey from education into a coaching business and then into a training business, and seeing how she was within her coaching business and the sort of leader she was. I just knew that was a woman that was going to hold my feet to the fire when I needed to be, but also be kind of nudging me along with a bit of love when I needed to be, when I was having my wobbles. And that's exactly how it's proved to be. And I'm super excited with the opportunities that are coming up. I'm super excited that I've now stepped into owning being a leadership coach, and I'm really can't wait for the opportunities that are kind of coming my way, and Ruth's been a big part of that. So just wanted to kind of say thank you. Just like, yeah, it's been, a brilliant journey, and I think there's a lot more to come. So yeah, but so we're here to talk about, obviously, the podcast launch today, Female Leaders on Fire. This is something that I probably needed in the corporate world when I was back in it probably 10 years ago now. And a lot of women have said this, like, why was this not a thing when I was in the corporate world? But if you go back to your time in the corporate world and the education world, what do you think are the key challenges that female leaders face?
Well, I'm going to be really honest here. So there are so many challenges, and I'm going to share a story because I think this might resonate with people. Yeah. So when I became pregnant, I was basically, first of all, the men who were also on the senior leadership team, 2 of them said, I guess you won't be coming back there now that you're pregnant.
Immediately.
Wow. And then they complained about the fact that I couldn't do things when I was pregnant. So, for example, I was meant to work 10 in the morning, so 10:30 until 3:30 without a break. And the only reason that I got a break is because I knew the person in charge of health and safety. I knew him privately, and he was like, Ruth, this is not okay. I mean, it's normally not okay. But then people complained that I got a break, even though I was pregnant. People would say things like, in meetings, everyone needs to be on the gate after school because something's happened. But obviously Ruth can't be there because she's pregnant, so we're going to be one person down. I would have stuff like that continually. That's an example of when I was pregnant.
Wow.
Equally, I remember a boss saying to me, you have to be measured. You always have to be measured. You have to be measured in everything that you do. You have to be really like, you can't be emotional. You can't be like this. And it was very much like, you have to have masculine traits, you can't have feminine traits. And I remember again in school leadership, like we'd been Ofsteded and we went into special measures and crying, and actually my team seeing me cry and them really responding well to it, because they were like, I can see how much she cares. And we really care too. And it's actually okay to be upset in this situation. So I think it's harder for women. I think there are even like, you know, that men are held to different standards.
Yeah.
So another example.
I love the stories, by the way. So good.
The men staff, I'm not good. Always ahead of PE. No, actually, he wasn't ahead of PE. Yeah, he was ahead of PE. Always ahead of PE. I'm like, I can't name his name. He might be watching. He's
no, it's fine.
Yeah, the men staff, completely okay that they get drunk. That's fun. Any women staff, shamed. And I have seen this everywhere that I've worked. I've seen that there's one standard for men and there's one standard for women. And the expectation, and then if women adopt masculine behaviors, which often they do because of a coping mechanism, then like there's that divide between the women as well. And what was very interesting is that I would say the most challenging bosses I've had are women.
Yeah, same here.
However, I haven't told you this, that I bumped into my old boss on...
Oh, I think I saw your post.
On Tuesday or Wednesday. I literally bumped into her. She shouted my name. And it was very interesting because I'd always thought of it like the relationship was kind of her not liking me, not respecting me, blah, 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 not supporting me. But then when I saw her, I realized the relationship equally had her as a young as a young leader, not ever, and I remember her telling this, never having any leadership support, coaching, training. And so she was also in this situation where she was the only female. She was recruited. She was only female at her level. And then there were more of us, but she's the only female at her level. She was, she'd been recruited. She'd been sort of in there really young. She hadn't had any support. Yeah. And so she'd got these coping mechanisms that were really unhealthy. And it was very interesting to reflect on. So what I would say is that I do think that I think that women, I think it is changing, but I think women find it hard. And I think the pandemic has made it even worse.
Yeah. I think there's also a part of it, and we talk about this on the podcast, which is that I remember growing up, like, don't be too loud, don't be too bossy, you don't need to talk all the time, and almost that kind of that leadership kind of potential, almost like in women, it's not a comfortable thing. It's not something that's encouraged. I know for me as a little girl, my gran, who I love to bits and I wish was still here, just one particular day I was super excited, just being a little girl, running around, dancing around, and she said it with a smile, but I still remember the impact. Little girls should be seen and not heard. I just remember this feeling, like my heart being a bit crushed, that even with the people that loved me the most, being that, having all that energy and being so much was just not a good thing. And I do think we carry that framework that, fit in and just, be part of something rather than stand out. And it takes a lot. I know it's taken me a lot of courage just to start knowing that I don't need to fit in anywhere, because I don't think I've ever properly fitted in. It's like, I don't need to fit in anywhere because I'm not meant to, because I'm actually meant to stand out and show other women it's okay to lead and lead as yourself. Crazy hair some days, and with bright t-shirts, and with unicorn obsessions and all the good big stuff that goes with it, being yourself. And I think that's why I love seeing you lead, because you lead very, I don't even say authentically, because it's beyond authentic. It's just you are yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing. I think that we can just go through, we tie ourselves in knots thinking that we have to be a certain way. We have to be corporate. We have to be like this. And being corporate means that we don't show our emotions. Yeah.
I definitely had feedback that you're too emotional and you're overreacting, or when you're aggressive, it's very assertive, and then people think it's you know, when you're assertive, it's seen as aggressive.
You
Like,
literally
that's
can't
passion.
win.
Yeah. So, but what would you say? What's your biggest lesson from your time of moving from being a leader in corporate to education into, and I know recently for you, you've really grown more and more into that CEO role. What would you say is your biggest lesson that you've had?
Oh my God. So for me, I am such a people pleaser. So, and I'm going through this right now. So I will always be like, oh, I want to champion everyone. I want to do all of this. And what I've realized is, first of all, like sometimes I'm like, I'm over helpful to people and they don't ask for that. And so I have to really recognize that. But equally, for me, it's about really understanding my team's strengths and understanding my strengths and making sure I've got the right people in the right roles, because I think it's really easy to be swept away with like, oh my gosh, this person's wonderful. But you have to really think about the team and how that works and how people fit together. Otherwise, you just end up with, you know, I've worked with, you know, I work with my best friend. I love her. Was she the best person to work with me? No.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like, we were not a good combination, not because she's not good or anything like that, because I didn't think about how our personalities fitted together and I didn't think about what I needed for that role. I needed someone really detail focused, and that's not her strength. So for her to do detail, which she did, it took her such a long time and it wasn't where she wanted to be. So I really think it's about us recognizing where we need to do the work, and it's constant. I'm speaking to leadership coaches next week, actually, for me, because I'm like, okay, I need to be a better leader. There's some things that I'm not happy about my leadership style. Like, I can be really short with people when I'm under pressure. So yeah, really making sure that you are aware and that you're building a team that has variety. That's it. Not just people like you, not just people who think the way that you do, not just people with your background. I am laughing because my business manager is called the same name as me. But yeah,
we're a bit confused for a minute or two.
Confusing. But yeah, we realized we didn't have any men in our team. And then we're like, oh yeah, we've got a diverse business. Well, how can you have diversity if you only have one gender? How can you have diversity? And this is as you grow. So I know this is mainly for women, but and I'm all pro women. But as you grow, you're like, we need to have men as well. Like, we can't just ignore them. I mean, I know we try to sometimes, but we can't. Actually, we can have a women-centric business, and we can have a business that has got, you know, that celebrates the masculine and the feminine. And I actually think that's the way to go for businesses if they really want to grow.
Absolutely. I think above all, in everything that I share and everything I want to talk about on the mission that I've got, I don't think it's about burning the patriarchy, and it's not about blaming men, because they're part of where we are, but they're also part of how we're going to change things and make things better. So what would you say are the changes that are needed, especially from your time kind of in corporate world, to kind of just help women know that there's a path for them and help them step into, because actually every single one of us is a leader, and this is my other big message, that you're a leader of one from the day that you're born. And that's where it all starts, because if you can't lead yourself, how are you going to broaden that out and lead a team and lead a division and lead a business?
I think that this is about self-leadership. It is about you really understanding who you are and understanding like what you need first and foremost. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anyone else. Now, somebody told me this the other day. I can't remember who told me, and I can't remember where it's from, but it's true. Like, so if you are not meeting your needs, if you're not, you know, looking after yourself, how can you really lead others? If you're not being authentic actually to what your values as well, then it's really difficult to lead. Now, we've all been in those situations and those workplaces where we have felt that conflict in values. However, it's really important that we appreciate and understand that we are that we are the people responsible for our own leadership, and if we go there, then we can make the changes.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we role model it every day, don't we? And how we set boundaries, what we say yes and no to, and that constant role modeling of this is my value and this is my worth.
100%.
And I think it's a big thing. And again, I work with women at different levels of organizations. It's a leadership coach, but actually, like, it's you're a leader from the moment you're born to the day that you die. So start there, because no one else is going to do that. So, Ruth, tell us a little bit about your diploma and the amazing program.
I'll tell you about that, of course.
And where they can get more information from you.
Yeah, so the Professional Coach Diploma is our diploma if you want to become a coach, or actually as a leader if you want to develop your coaching skills, because as a leader we know that coaching is the thing that actually makes a difference to our teams. So you can just go to optimuscoachacademy.com and then you can find the coach training there, or you can send me a message directly to ruth.kudzi@optimuscoachacademy.com and we can have a chat. If you are thinking about getting professional training as a coach, either to become a coach or for your leadership capacity and position, I would say it's probably, and I'll let you know, I'll see if Nick agrees with me, probably the best self-development that I've ever done. And the people say that as well. I mean, I say that I've ever done. For me, creating it, I've had to go through it as well. So, I've seen it from every angle. But, actually, the more that we are able to know about who we are as a leader, the better we are at helping people.
Definitely. It was transformative for me. I wouldn't be here doing the things that I'm doing now without it. Definitely. I said I'm a bit bereft on Thursday sometimes. Well,
I know, where is everyone?
There's other people. So
I know that a lot of you say that because you build such strong relationships as well, don't you?
Yeah, and I think for me also it was such a support in such a difficult time, and I probably had a couple of months of being the person that cried the most, which is not a surprise for people that know me anyway. But yeah, hugely transformative.
Crying's good. I mean, we need to let go of that. Crying releases cortisol, and somebody told me that when you cry, there's something in your tears which is actually good for your skin. Yeah. So it not only reduces stress, it's a cheap way of getting a good skin treatment. So, we should all be doing it.
I should have the best skin ever, I think, then recently.
But you have got lovely skin, so obviously.
Thank you. What we'll do, Ruth, as well, I'll pop a link in, I'll come back to comments, and we'll pop a link in the comments so people can go straight through.
Thank you, lovely lady.
Training. But yeah, thank you for kicking off this morning.
We're on LinkedIn Live as well now, aren't we?
We're on LinkedIn Live, yes, and we've gone straight onto YouTube, and we will share this out again later on email. So yeah, thank you so much.
I am going to go and share your podcast everywhere.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruth.
Okay. Take care.
Bye. Bye.